Hello everyone, it's Gojira Prime here with a little video, and today we are taking a look at Golden Disc Tigertron. Now this is the version of Tigertron that was released as part of the Golden Disc subline, and I chose to get this version of Tigertron over the mainline version of the character because this version actually is the color of a Bengal tiger, and I found it more interesting because of the head sculpt that they did with this guy. But before we look at the toy itself, as always, we'll go through the vehicle/animal mode, we'll go through the robot mode, and then we'll do some size comparisons. So, first off, here he is in tiger mode, and I have to admit, I do like the tiger mode. I do prefer him in these colors to the white and blue, I think it was, of the original version of the character. Now this version, I think, if I remember correctly, is meant to be a representation of how the character was originally intended to look in the show or the toy line, but don't quote me on that. So, you know, as tigers go, it's a very nice representation of a tiger. All the robot bits are quite neatly tucked away, as well as they can be, given, you know, for what it is. But yeah, it's a really nice looking tiger mode. You do have a very nice face sculpt, although he does seem a little bit cross-eyed. The mouth does open. We got your finger in there, and you do have some teeth. There is no head articulation in any way, shape, or form. You do have leg articulation at the front, and you can bend his paws like that and at the joint there. So you can get him in various crouching poses or running poses if you want there. The back legs, which here do have a range of motion in them as well, so they can move in and out a little bit, and they do move back a little bit as well, and you do have some motion there as well to aid in posability of the figure in this mode. So all in all, I think that's a really nice tiger mode / animal mode for a Transformer. And I have no real issues with it in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a really good mode. So what I'll do is I'll just pause the video, I'll get him transformed, and we'll take a look at him in his robot mode. Okay, so here we have Tigertron now in his robot mode, and as you can see from the robot mode, the sculpting of this figure is very, very different from the original version. So if we just start off with the head, which is the main difference really, you can see that instead of the traditional Tigertron head, you have this kind of like monster face on here instead. Now the reason he has this is that this is like the mutant battle mask that the Beast Wars figures came with when the line originally came out in the early 90s. Now this version is, if I can remember correctly, is meant to represent a version of Tigertron that's been contaminated by some sort of substance, but I can't remember exactly what. But again, I really do like the character in these colors, these, you know, more traditional Bengal tiger colors of orange, white, and black. They just stands out a lot better for me than the traditional white and blue that the character was in the TV series. You can see some of the animal parts in the back here for the front legs and the back legs here, but in all, you know, and obviously he's got his head on his chest, but all in all, I think this is a really cool robot mode. I really, really enjoy it. And the fact that I got this version means he stands out a lot better on the shelf amongst his Beast Wars counterparts. Now, articulation-wise, the head is on a swivel like that. There is no real up and down movement. The arms are on a joint here, and they can go up so far, and you do have movement at the elbows there. Now obviously the backpack, which forms the side of the body in cat mode, and the legs does stop it from going all the way back. There is hand articulation on a swivel there, but no finger articulation. It's just one molded piece of plastic. The legs do have a full range of motion, so you can do the splits like that. They can go back a little bit, but again are stopped by this backpack. So if you want to lift them any further, you're going to have to just lift that up. And they do, of course, go all the way, more or less all the way forward as well. You've got bend at the knee, And I'm struggling there because this is really stiff joints, and you do have some foot articulation there, and there is a bit of ankle articulation there as well. So it means you can get into some really good poses on your shelf, or if you're like me, doing toy photography. Now, he does come with a couple of accessories. His tail from his Tiger mode, and also what I like to call his brain blaster, because it looks like he's got a brain there. These weapons will both fit into his hands, and the tail functions as a kind of whip weapon, which you can put in there facing either direction. So yeah, I'm really quite pleased with that. Really, really nice figure. So let's do some size comparisons. Here he is next to Blastoff from Age of the Primes. Here he is next to Power of the Primes, if I can get him to stand up. Power of the Primes Rodimus. So he's actually bigger than Rodimus in some ways. And here he is with Trans Metal 2 Megatron, which I picked up a few weeks back. So all in all, he's a decent-sized Voyager class figure. So is this figure worth getting? I think it is, ultimately. If you're a fan of Beast Wars, and even if you do have the original version of Tigertron that came from the War for Cybertron line, I think this is definitely one worth picking up. Just because it's a little bit different with the head sculpt and the paint scheme. It just makes it stand out a little bit better on the shelf. So, yeah, I would definitely pick this guy up if you haven't already got him, if you can. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Golden Disc Tigertron. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Hit like, hit subscribe, and do feel free to comment in the comments below.